Hey, Edward again. Today I want to talk about risks associated with buying a business because I think this is an important concept. And yes, buying a business is great and it could become very profitable and you can build wealth out of it, but you also need to be aware of the risks and how you can mitigate some of these risks. Now, before going into more depth, looking into risks is tied to the deal and is tied to the person, the buyer, and of course, the seller. It's also tied to the team you have built around the due diligence uh, team. There's another video that I just recorded on the due diligence framework in 2026 for buyers. Just take a look at that to build up a proper team. But the fastest way to mitigate your risk is to actually hire somebody that's done a lot of deals. And if you're looking for help, just DM me on LinkedIn to get more insights into how that works. But in general, I'll talk about generalized risks based on different scenarios that you can get into. First of all, buying a business typically involves getting into some sort of debt. So, meaning you will go and raise debt to be able to fund the acquisition, to finance the acquisition, which means in most cases, you will personally guarantee the loan. Now, in some cases, you can negotiate how much you personally guarantee the loan, and with certain mechanisms, you can avoid doing a personal guarantee. Now, again, you need to be in certain conditions and certain deals, and you need to understand how to renegotiate some of the personal guarantee documentation. Now, if you sign a personal guarantee, that's one of the risks because it basically means that you're going to need to pay off the loan if something goes bad to the business. If something happens to the company and the cash flow drops and it becomes the cash flow becomes non-existent. So it's going to come out of your pocket. Now, again, because lenders don't want to get into that situation where they go after you, they will try to actually go after the company and try to see what assets they have, what equipment they have, whatever things they have, and how they can actually improve the company in a way that the cash flow appears back. And of course, we're going to try to mitigate that risk from even happening 3, 6, 9 months before that even happens. Now, I've heard a lot of horror stories before, and I can guarantee that there were cases where people defaulted on the loan and got bankrupt. So that's one of the risks. Before you would sign personal guarantees, you really need to properly do due diligence on the deal. That's the fastest way to to essentially uh, sign a personal guarantee. In most cases, you will need to do it. I've had a guy uh, that essentially talked to a cash flow lender and they offered him a personal guarantee thing and he went and talked to more lenders and he negotiated with somebody else to not sign it and that was a win for him. That was a while ago than when he did that deal, but that's an example of how you can renegotiate that. He bought a fish business back in the day, 4 million, I think, in revenue, around a million in EBITDA. So very profitable, very good deal, and he was able to avoid that. So that's one of the risks. Two is you can get into a situation where you're spending a lot of time. Let's say you do a more creative deal, you're not involving much debt. Maybe you're involving your money, and maybe you're involving somebody else's money. Well, you could waste somebody else's money and you're not able to pay them off and kind of damage your reputation doing that. Or if you didn't use your money and you used your money, you've lost your money, your time. So let's say you've done a more creative deal where you put some money down and you've done some seller financing. And let's say the business hasn't performed and there's a clawback option where you can give them the business if you don't want to if you can't continue to run it because you're not able to make it profitable. Well, in that case, you lost time and money. So in some cases, there's risks associated with you continuing to pay because you have a contract where you have an obligation to a certain lender or a certain party, or there are risks associated with you spending time and money and losing that. Those are the main risks. Now, these are generalized risks. These are not risks that are based on your deal. If you have a very particular deal and you're worried about whatever you need to do, maybe you need to do an asset-based purchase, maybe you're considering doing a stock-based purchase, but you're getting liabilities, and maybe the company has debt. You're not sure about how to calculate some of these things. Maybe you're buying equipment that has debt on, and you're trying to understand how to do that. Or maybe there's other issues and risks associated with a deal. Maybe they're assets, maybe they're cash flow, maybe customer concentration risks. Well, what you need to do is you need to get custom consulting. You need to talk to somebody who's looked at some of these things, who's done very similar deals to be able to help you. So there's no such things as like me telling you the exact risks you're going to get into. If you want to get help, is you're going to need to get counsel and very particular advice from people who've done it. If you want to do that, just send me a message on LinkedIn. I'm typically more active either on LinkedIn or email, and we can talk about your deal you're working on or your deal you're potentially considering, or maybe a deal you found in BizBuySell you want to get a set of eyes on that. Thanks for watching, and if you're looking for more videos like this, just subscribe to the channel to support me doing more videos like this. Thanks.